Here we have a pretty ugly fish tank. This aquarium's been set up for just over a year now, and it is used as as you can see, Guppy breeder tank. It is relatively clean in terms of water quality. It's checked and maintained quite regularly. However, as you can see, it's a little bit untidy. Now, as for nutrients, this is pretty nutrient dense. These plants grow quite well and quite quickly. But we do have a couple of problems with this tank, so let's dive into it and have a quick look. So getting a little bit closer, you can see obviously we've got some beautiful mixed guppies here. And let's talk very quickly about filtration. So lopsided over here, covered in a little bit of algae. We've got a submersible UV filter. I think that was about, I want to say about $200. Really good filter, does an incredible job. And then we have this large sponge filter. Again, really good for taking out those microparticles in the water. And then we got our lopsided heater in the back. Now let's talk about the fish. The fish, as you can see, we've got a little crebensis here, and there's another one hanging around somewhere, which is not ideal. They were tiny babies recently and have grown really well. So I'm going to be getting rid of those crebensis. I've got a friend who's going to come and actually take those. Oh, there's the other one. I've got a friend who's going to come and take those away. Thankfully, they haven't really been an issue. But the tank that they were in had a big problem, and I had to shift them in here to safer waters. So let's talk about the problems. Sorry about the glare right now. I'm just gonna go switch off the light and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so the first glaring obvious issue is how messy all these plants are. We have got quite a mixture of stuff in here. Now, messiness doesn't equal, you know, filthy or whatever, but it's not the most attractive looking plant mixture in the world. And some of the plants are struggling a little bit as a result of a pretty crappy light. Now, the water level's a little bit low because I was doing my water change. I do a little bit of a water change every few days just to keep things ticking over, keep everything healthy. And I haven't checked the water parameters. Everything's looking really good and really healthy. So let's see what plants we've got in here. So we've got some guppy grass, and I've just wrapped that up in a little bit of spider wood or some kind of a root wood. And we got some more guppy grass here, which I think broke away from the main pile. Got some more up there in the corner, so as you can see, it's a little bit all over the place. We've got some vallus here in the front and in the back, and we've got little bits of Java fern. I can't remember which species of Java fern that is off the top of my head, but yeah, we got some Java fern. We've got Java fern stuck to a rock. We got some snails, of course. That's always going to be an issue. Now, one of the big problems here, I have a bit of an issue with water movement. So the little bits of waste that you see on the bottom have been a persistent issue. So I might need to add a tiny power head in here to get the water flow going a bit more. As you guys know, though, guppies generally, especially these bigger fancy guppies, they tend not to like too much water flow. So I need to get something that's going to make that water flow a little bit lower. Perhaps moving the filter over to the other side might help us out there a little bit. So some of the other little issues in here, as you can see, we've got a little bit of blackbeard algae. Thankfully, it's not too much. Again, I think that might be a result of the water flow. As you can see, there's a little bit more right there. Now I do have a secret weapon to deal with that, and that is that I've got myself some Siamese algae eaters. They're taking care of some algae in another tank right now. So once I get rid of these cribs, as in the crebensis, I'm going to drop those algae eaters in here to take care of that little bit of blackbeard. They've done an awesome job in my other tank. They got a tiny, albeit very tiny amount of blackbeard, but they went straight for it and stripped it off and ate it all. Which is really good. So let's talk about what the plan is with this one. So I'm going to completely change the layout. Obviously, this is literally a tank that I've just dumped plants into in order to get the guppies breeding. They've bred wonderfully. There's some of the juvies up there that need to come out. And so yeah, I'm really happy with actually how the tank has performed over the last year, about a year and a half actually, now that I think of it. It's performed really well. Now this is never going to be a show quality tank. I mean, there's a big old scratch right there in the glass. I'm going to try to get rid of that if I can. So the plan is I've got all new media in the filter already, so I'm just going to maybe clean the outside of the filter. There's nothing really in there that likes to eat that kind of algae, so I'm just going to clean it off, I think. I have got some beautiful rocks, some gorgeous hardscape. I'm going to reuse the wood, and the algae eaters will hopefully get rid of the black splotches on there. I might get another little bit of spider wood for in there to complete the whole picture. I'm probably going to put the Valisaurus at the back. I can never say that word. The Valis. I'm going to put that towards the back. And I'm going to put some more of these Java Fern rocks that I've made in there. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a really nice layer of substrate that was given to me by a friend. And I'm going to add some really nice hardscape in there. So I am going to try set up my camera at some stage to get this all figured out. And I'll check back in with you guys once I'm ready to go. And I look forward to showing you guys the transformation and hearing what you have to say. Alright, so as you can see, we've cleared out the tank a fair bit. There's quite a few bits of like particulates and stuff in the water, but for the most part it's pretty good. So the next step now is to remove the rest of the plants and some of the very minuscule hardscape that's in there. Then we're going to remove the fish, and then we're going to get to work on rescaping. I just spotted a huge piece of blackbeard algae floating around there, so I'm going to pull that out. And yeah, we'll go from there. I'll be right back. Alrighty, so most of the plants have been removed. There's a few floaters in there. A few bits and pieces that I'll pull out as we go along. As you can see, the bottom is filthy from moving all those plants. And so yeah, let's get these fish out of here and into a nice container, and then we'll get to planting. Right, folks, so the main part of the work is done now. So for the most part, the tank has been completely emptied. There's little baby guppies that I can't catch. As you can see, the water is filthy now from moving everything. I think it's a good thing to show that, you know, every once in a while it's not a bad idea to get in there and excuse me, to get in there and give these tanks a good clean. You know, our fish are important to us and we got to keep them healthy. And this just proves to me that perhaps I need to up my filter situation quite a bit more. So with that, I am going to move on to the next portion now. So I'm going to remove a little bit of this water, not all of it. And the reason for that is once I put the new substrate in, this will get quite cloudy, and it is a perfect opportunity then to get in there with the gravel vac. So I'm going to vacuum out all of the remnants down there. Now a lot of this is just stones and shells, so it's not like big lumps of poo or anything. But I'm going to get in here, I'm going to gravel vac all of this to get as much of that crap out as I can. And then I'm going to put in the new substrate, which is a red lava rock. And yeah, I'll show you once we get to that. It's going to cloud out the water like crazy. So then I'm going to go in there with the gravel vac again, clear it out as much as possible. And I've got a whole lot of water sitting outside ready to go. And yeah, I got a bit of algae on the glass to clean up. As I say, this is like a really nasty tank just sat in the corner. But let's get it done. Alright, so as you can see, the water is pretty cloudy after putting in the substrate. So I'm just going to drain this off now and give it a good clean, and we'll go from there. Alright, so we've emptied out the manky water. As you can see, the little baby guppy is still going strong there. So what I've done is I just put these back in here for the time being just to keep them moist. So I've put back in the sponge filter over there, hooked back up the regular filter. Now I couldn't get all the algae off, but that's fine. Got the heater in there ready to go. And so now we are going to do the hardscape. But first I'm going to put the plants, the background plants in, and we'll go from there. Alrighty, so we got the first of the Valis in the back there. So I'm going to put the rest of the Valis in, and then I'll catch up with you. Alrighty, so we've got the Valis in the background here. I've gone about halfway over with that. And next we're going to add in our plant over here on the side, which is going to be a much bigger plant. And really nice color too, so I'll be right back and show you guys that. So this is the second plant, which is the purple waffle, and that's going to kind of go away to hiding the heater and the sponge in the background there. It's a beautiful plant. I've just weighed down the roots a little bit with some lava rock because the roots are quite short on this particular one, so it's just a short-term fix. So next up, I've added my hardscape, which is just two really good looking hard rocks. So I'm going to put some small plants along the front here, and going to put maybe some taller plants in the background, and then we're as good as done. So now we come back to the Java fern on the spider wood. That's going to go in there now. So I've decided to seat that just behind the rocks. The reason for that is there's a lot of water flow back there. And with the Java fern, it's pretty important to have that water flow to make sure that you don't get a lot of algae or build-up of stuff in there, and also gives the guppies a nice place to hide. So the vallus is going to come up from the left-hand side, and we've got one more piece of spider wood, but I don't think there's much room for it, so I might just leave that out, but we'll see if it fits. I'm going to start filling up the front here now. Alright, so now we're going to just pop a lava rock with some Java fern in there, and we might do another one here in the front corner and another one in that corner. Alright, so far so good. It looks a little bit messy right now, but once the water is in, it's going to look a lot better. So I feel like I need to put a little bit down here in the bottom left hand corner, and maybe a little bit just under that rock. So I'm just going to go with the freestanding Java fern for that. Alrighty, so it's starting to take shape now. We're just filling her up with water, and then we'll pop on the filter to get a lot of the grainy stuff out before we put the fish back in. Alrighty, so all the fish are in now. As you can see, they're kind of hanging out at the top because they're a little bit unsure about what's going on. The water is still a little bit cloudy because of the substrate being so dusty, but both filters are working overtime right now to clean that out. So I'll catch up with you guys later once the water clears up, and yeah, we'll check it out from there. Alright guys, well, here's the finished product. It's still got a little bit of kind of moving around to do. Everything's not exactly as I like it. It's still a tiny bit hazy, which I think, it's going to be the case for a day or two until the sponge filter does its job. As you can see, the guppies have settled in nicely now. They're swimming around really happy, it looks like. And so I went down to the local hardware store and I got an LED light to put in there. It's still a little bit too powerful, I think, but the color is much better. Now, one little issue that I've come across is the light is kind of facing over this way, and unfortunately I can't move it. I might have to just unscrew it all and switch it around to the other side, or maybe put a bar LED up there or something. The reason I want to do that is because this plant over here, it likes a lot of light, and actually right now it's not getting enough at all, so I'm gonna have to figure something out there. The other option is that I could actually put a little light over here on the side. I've got a few spare little Magitarium Klingon lights, so I might just do that. But we'll see how it goes. So far so good. I'm quite happy with it. Obviously once you plant out a new tank, it looks a little bit messy at the start because it takes time for it to kind of get into a position where it works out. For example, as you can see, some of the roots are exposed back here on the vallus. I'd like to get that sorted out. I'll get in there tomorrow with the tweezers once everything's settled down. But so far I am quite happy with it. I am going to actually add in some, maybe like a ball of guppy grass just free floating for the babies eventually, but for now I'm just going to leave it as it is because I actually quite like how it looks. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I had a lot of fun doing this today. It was a really fun project, and just want to say thanks to Dina for the fantastic substrate. I really like it. I think it really works for the colors, and thank you all for checking out the video, and I hope you have a great day.